Mike's Daily Podcast.
Hi, I just had a sneezing fit, can you tell? It's episode 1846.
Mike's Daily Podcast
1846. Hey, it's a sad day to lose Doris Day. She was 97? Wow. That's amazing. And she was in a lot of movies in the 50s. And that's
Mike's Daily Podcast.
My rhyming ability is very lackluster at 5:33 in the morning, just have to tell you. Hey,
Mike's
so she was in
Daily
a couple Rock
Podcast
Hudson movies, and
yeah,
my dad was Rock Hudson's stand-in. I forgot to ask my dad what Doris Day was like. Yeah, well. Hey, while they're still here, remember to ask your relatives questions. Of course, that one, I never really cared about what Doris Day was like until this exact moment, so, oh well. Hey, Doris Day apparently had a hotel in Carmel, and I had not ever taken Basil the Boxer there, who will bark for you momentarily, until about just only 2 or 3 years ago. And the beach there is amazing, and it's wonderful for taking dogs. The total dog okay, beach dogs are okay to bring them there, and they can run around. So nice. And she apparently had a hotel, which I was told was very nice. And you could see her walking dogs all the time. Became a big animal rights activist in the last, quite a few decades of her life. You know, in 68, she had some show on CBS called The Doris Day Show, which I never saw because I was an infant. And I know my parents were watching a ton of TV, but...
And here's today's podcast picture.
You know, speaking of pictures, we just so take for granted the amazing quality of the screens today. Even my mom's got a flat screen. It's not a very big one, but she doesn't want it any bigger. But people there's down the street from me, somebody put out one of those old big television screens, the ones that had that kind of, I guess they used that blue, red, green combination that shot into the back. Anyway, it's a big, bulky, horrible mess. And there's Basil, who's a wonderful dog who never got to meet Doris Day. Although, who knows, when we were in Carmel, we've been there quite a few times now, we may have walked right past her and did not know. That's right, Basil. Hey, he has a picture. I think we'll put that in the podcast picture today. From Benita, he was barking in the surf. I actually sent this to somebody yesterday, so I'll send it to you today for the podcast picture. See it at MikesDailyPodcast.com. He pulled me into the bay. My feet are getting all wet. Actually, my shoes were completely submerged. But he just wanted to go further and further into the water, having fun. MikesDailyPodcast.com is where you can see that picture. So yes, Carmel, great place to go. Expensive as heck. Parking, pretty much impossible. But if you can find a spot, which if you want, the best thing to do is just go off into the little suburbs there. I don't think there are any sidewalks in the suburbs at all. The houses just go right to the street. And there's just tons of trees everywhere. People will, in the middle of the road, they never chop down trees. So they'll keep a huge tree in the middle of the road. You just got to drive right around it. But this picture isn't of Carmel, so I don't know why I'm talking about... Oh, Doris Day, yeah. So here at Cafe Anyway, we're renaming it Cafe Doris Day. George Michael talked about Doris Day in that song, You Make a Something Brighter Than Doris Day. But George Michael was gay. There was that gay element, wasn't there? The whole Doris Day if you were a huge Doris Day fan, you were gay, something like that. Is that because of the show tunes? The show tune stereotype? Because she was so well known she was in that band of renown in her early days as a little girl, and then she became this big pop star singer in the 30s and 40s, 50s. She's like this in movies with Frank Sinatra. I think I've talked enough about Doris Day. Anyway, maybe you were a huge fan, and there you go. I'm sorry for your loss. But she got up there. That's great. And George Michael's no longer with us, so perhaps they're up in heaven having a chat about what I'm chatting about right now. I don't know. So we have this thing called, oh yeah. So yesterday, I'm doing a lot better than yesterday, mind you, because yesterday I kind of lost all faith in who I can trust to help me out. It seems that when it comes to the early morning shifts, even though I am supposed to be here later in the day to manage people and to take care of any issues that pop up, I have to be here in the morning because nobody can get up early or some stupid thing. So personally, I've only done it now 2 days, got up at 4, and I'm enjoying the fact that there's nobody else is up at 4. By the time you're up at 7 and trying to get around, there's tons of people. You can't move. You can't breathe in the Bay Area. And the parents. Oh, yeah, because Podcaster Valley is a big school town. All our public schools are well rated. And the parents, they're everywhere. They're just driving their kids. The streets just lock up. It's gridlock time when it's time for school. So I used to never have to deal with that because I'd be at work by this time, 5:39 in the morning. As we go outside a cafe anyway, where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast, somewhere in Podcastro Valley, Mont today. So I never have to deal with it. But when my role changed at work and my time changed, I was now coming in later and dealing with that and going, wow, there's just too many people. So early in the morning, not so many people. So the pluses and minuses of getting up early. Yes. Could I use at least 5 more hours of sleep right now? Yes. Am I a super duper responsible person? And because of that, I get penalized? Why is it the responsible people get penalized? It should be the other way around. Irresponsible people get away with murder. The responsible people, we end up stuck doing the crap jobs because we're the responsible ones and no one else can trust us. It's a thing. And ridiculous simultaneously. But at the end of the day, people, I think we need to praise the responsible people and give them as much kudos as possible. Not cooties, but kudos. And give them their just desserts. You know, in England, they don't call desserts dessert. They call dessert pudding. No matter what it is, it's called pudding. That's what dessert is. That's what I learned this weekend. Because England doesn't really like French words because they don't really like France. Well, now they do. Or do they? It's been an off and on thing for years. But then they got to be allies during World War I and II, so maybe that fixed stuff. But back in the day, they didn't really like France too much, so even though they were... The royalty was all related to France, wasn't it? Not that this is a history lesson type podcast. This is the podcast to motivate you to get up early, to go and do your thing today. Because it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be wonderful. Oh, and dessert, I guess, is a French word. And so go and do that. And your reward will be something delicious, like pudding, possibly. I don't know. And here in America, pudding is always custard. And then it got somehow wrapped up with the whole Bill Cosby thing. That was unfortunate. Hey! Look who's here. Is there a Bill Cosby Doris Day connection? I can't think of one at the moment, but look who's here right now at Cafe Anyway because we're so lonely. And here they are.
Hello, McMatthews. It's Jolly Shoehart, the chef's terrorizer. What are we talking about?
We're talking about the wonderfulness that is Doris Day.
Who's she?
She was I think she had blonde hair. Look who else is here. Oh, Mike, this is Floyd the Floor Man! And this is John Deere, the engineer. Mike, you should just do a podcast where you talk about one subject and research the heck out of it. And then you do like a series. And then it's over. Yeah, no, that's not really what this is. This is a daily podcast. So we go and talk about daily things. Like, for example, the stock market went completely bonkers. It dropped like a lead balloon yesterday. But by the time of closing, it went up a little bit. And now they're saying today might be a better day. But it's all because of the China trade deal thing. And I only know all this because I work at a business talk radio station. But it's fascinating because I don't know how you feel about it, but China stole a lot of our, ideas. And then they some of the stuff they do is funky. For example, their leader has a thing that he doesn't like Winnie the Pooh because people compare him to Winnie the Pooh. And so, like, there's like Winnie the Pooh is banned in China. What is that about? Huh? I don't understand that. I deleted my WeChat app, by the way, which is if you want to talk to anyone in China through an app, you can't email them, you can't text them, you can't use Facebook or what, you can only use WeChat. So who knows how long that WeChat app on my phone was stealing all my information and giving it to China and taking my great podcast ideas. Maybe stealing some of your ideas, John Deere, the engineer. Yeah, I don't like that. No, it's terrible. So go to MikesDailyPodcast.com. Tell me what you think. You can call me at 336-MM Daily. You can help out the show at MikesDailyPodcast.com through the Amazon link, through the PayPal link. I'm not telling you what to do. You do your thing. Do what you want to do. I can't tell you who to talk it to. 336-MM Daily or email me MikesDailyPodcast@gmail.com. Next time, it'll be the wonderful Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, and the Brewmaster. Enjoy your day!
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Email Mike now at MikesDailyPodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!